firstly, welcome to today's panel discussion where the overall impact of the budget 2026 on road procurement will be discussed. And as roads connect cities, procurement connects ambition to execution, is how I will put it, on how projects will be bid out and on how the industry players will take up procurement on the operational side, is where we will discuss. And to help us unpack all of this, we have a distinguished set of four panelists today. Dr. Hoshing first. Sir, the budget has allocated a massive 3.1 lakh crore for Morth, and the shift is basically towards quality first procurement, as in the ultimate utility and utilization of the road asset will be prioritized more than the volume of roads. So, what is, in your opinion, the single biggest risk and the single biggest opportunity that this kind of approach will create for road BOT players and EPC contractors?
I tell you, the main thing I would feel is since you're going for the quality and all that, first of all, my initial days, I would, in my 40 years of highway experience, only nothing else. The main thing about this is whom do you deploy for work? So you have to see when you are getting the contractor, you need to see what is his background, what it has been. I have also seen one of the bids which I was doing for Romania. And there it is not about the quality which will come later after the construction, but the quality of people you are taking in for it. So they are not going for first of all they're establishing whether this company is right or wrong, not by the your papers, but by really meeting them, and then they take everyone's CV, and then they see who is going to do the work and what has been his records. And that record is not by simply giving a resume, it's by they getting certificate for each of the work they have taken. They may talk to the person directly and find out how he has been. So so that quality, and then they give number for each. There were at least 200 criterias for closing down on one person. So they take around 6 months for finalizing the contractor for that. So your financial thing is around 30% and 70% for the quality things. The quality will automatically come from here. So if you put punitive methods that if you do this and then I'll put you this penalties and all that, that is not going to work. Thing is that you have to choose proper contractor, and for that you need to have your criteria made for that, well said criteria, and you just cannot reduce the quality or the technical requirements for getting the contractor as a. So I want to have 100 contractors, and then I'll take one or two, then there'll be 30-40 bids, and you will see minus 40. Even if you want to do a construction, only material cost is 70-75%. So how can
Yes.
you quote somebody 70? How can anybody quote minus 40? So that is going to happen only with some wrong intentions, and not going to
Thank you,
happen.
sir. Actually, I was that is coming up in our very exciting panel discussion. This is one of the things I have touched upon. But one biggest opportunity for you is also take into account quality of the teams that the contractor is bringing to the project.
Yes.
That is one
Yes.
opportunity that we can have some kind of a evaluation based on that. So the
Yes.
same
I
question I
think
will
that.
pass to Vibhav Joshi, sir, for his views. One risk and one opportunity given this quality over quantity approach.
See, if you see consulting ecosystem, we already have the concept of QCBS. It does not extend to EPC players. Okay. In this budget, whether they have said anything about that being extended to EPC industry, I don't think so. In our kind of political economy, whether they'll do that, I am not too sure. Ideally, there should be a QCBS. Having said that, to say that QCBS eliminate all the ills of this also is not correct, but at least it's better than the L1 concept. Now, whether in our kind of economy we are still ready to have not have a L1 concept and go for QCBSC, consulting ticket sizes are relatively small. For every 1,000 crore that you spend on let's say contracting, you barely spend 30-40 crore on consulting. So there you can afford to have an approach that because of qualitative reasons, you pay another 5% to somebody and get the work done. But in a 1,000 crore contract, to pay another 100 crore extra just because, in our case also sometimes that question comes. In one of the northeastern states, in a forestry project, one of the CF ministers has raised this point. He says just because somebody has scored 1 or 2 point more, why should I spend 5 crore more? That mindset sometimes derails the entire QCBS regime, even if that is in place. Because there are all kind of questions then asked in assembly and even by auditors and vigilance authorities. So I don't think in this budget there is any provision which takes you in the direction of QCBS regime. But if that happens, at least on a pilot basis on selected projects, it can be done. It can be done. Let's say, for example, now if you have high-speed corridors, at least there you can try that model. So far, it has not been tried. So far, the selection process in the high-speed corridor was little restricted because it was a Japanese-funded project where ideally at least one Japanese partner has to come with each consortium. So that brings some sanity in the bidding process because if every consortium has at least one Japanese partner, they don't let you go for societal pricing. So in that sense, some kind of sanity and sanctity remains in the price, and prices really don't go as low as they could go in a typical PWD highway project. So that is one area that if there are projects being funded by multilateral agencies, particularly JICA, where we participate a lot, there probably the funding agencies can insist on QCBS type concept. Probably, I'm saying that. But in a non-funded or largely domestically funded project, whether that concept would be applicable or whether that concept would be, you will be able to sell it to the larger audience, I don't know. There was a time when DMRC or even NHI tried this model of top six. You remember that? Mr. Jairam Ramesh tried it and somebody in planning commission tried it. It didn't work. In Bombay Municipal Corporation, they tried top six model for a sewage treatment plant. That also didn't work. So because if they say people are qualifying, then why to keep it restricted to top six, And then there are allegations that top six means four-page, packages, and it might lead to some kind of, internal arrangement and all. So to eliminate that possibility, clients are quite reluctant to go for that kind of
Correct,
shortlisting
sir.
and
So,
all.
like you rightly said, it's a mindset shift that will need to be
Yes,
happening to make this
at
work.
least for the funded projects, funding agencies can insist
Yeah.
there has to be some weightage given to the, at least have a technical presentation so that if
Mhm.
there are 7 bidders, 6 have qualified on the in the pre-qualification stage, at least 1 or 2 can be filtered if you are not satisfied with their technical
Yeah.
presentation, which
Thank you, sir.
NHPC and all used to do in good old days.
Right, sir. No, thank you very much. So, Rakesh, sir, over to you. The same question. Now that the government approach is to build more quality of roads rather than quantity of roads. So, what is the risk and what is the opportunity in this approach?
As far as the quality is concerned, see, there should be some controlling mechanism by the government of India and the clients, NHI and all those things, because finally they are accepting the bids. And as far as we at Rajpath, under the dynamic leadership of Mr. Jagdish Kadam, our honorable chairman, we are executing 2 packages in Bangalore to Vijayawada 6-lane green projects. There we have to control the quality. We have engaged IIT Mumbai, Dr. Dhramveer Singh very frequently. He is conducting the training programs. They are we have developed the control mechanism of the quality systems, source selection, because when we input is, as one of the panelists told, there's a 70 to 75% cost contribute to the material cost contributes. Okay. So that source selection for the material input cost is very, very important. What we did, first I would like to tell you what we have achieved. We have just recorded 4 Guinness World Record in January itself.
Yes.
Okay, so that is a very big achievement, not for the Rajpath, but it is for the nation also, for
Correct.
India. And Honorable Minister also have tweeted so many experts, so many, you must have seen the in newspaper and the
Yes.
digital
On social
media.
media as well.
So what we did, before we started the execution of the project, what we did, we selected the vendors, potential vendors. We asked them to accept pre-terms conditions before placing the order, defining the quality related, price related, logistics related, temperature maintenance related, everything. Said there were 20 points, pre-terms conditions, which we got accepted from all the vendors. See, mainly ITPL, Hindustan Petroleum, Hinkol, Technobit, and Tikitar, all the prominent vendors. So when you select a right source, then you get the right quality. As other panelists rightly expressed, then the contractor is also very important. Government of India, they should also emphasis on the quality. They should select the contractors not on the price basis. The lowest bidder may not be suitable. Government should focus on the suitable bidders, not the lowest bidders. That is very, very important as far as the quality is concerned in India. So I will
True, sir.
say, so that way we are monitoring the quality through IIT Mumbai also. When we were in the process from 5th January to 11th January, we were executing this project for world record. There were a team from COEP Pune, from IIT Mumbai. Everyone was there to control the quality. There were representatives from NHI also, and they were very happy to see the quality where we have the testing parameters at every point of time. So I will say key quality is not only one, it quality is has to be in the mindset of people.
True, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank you.
your insights. Very
Thank
true,
you.
sir. And we are all very proud of the achievement by Rajpath Infracon. The same question to Porus, sir, for you. That given this approach, what risks and opportunities can you, shed light on?
Risk is a widening gap actually between the intent and delivery. That's what I feel. And much focus on quality sometimes can mismatch between design standards. So, we need to have contractor capacity and monitoring, in sync with the timelines that they need to adhere to. Otherwise, the time which it takes, like they said that they have innovated, the Rajpath Infra people innovated the quality checks by having a team of IIT or team of experts placed at the site. Very few people in the contracting fraternity would do this. So if it is mandated by the government, of course, then we have a very good future and very good roads that we may see. At the same time, the competition wise, I feel that there will be healthy competition, and the system of, being always the L1 qualifying would also deter, the impact of non-quality compliant roads coming into existence.
Yes. Even just one thing that comes to mind, even in the economic survey, it was mentioned that the dilution in eligibility criteria has indeed led to some fears of substandard construction being done. Although there has been obviously a lot of saving for the government because -30, -40% deep discounts are being realized, but there is a general fear in the industry that this is leading to a compromise somewhere. Maybe not by everyone, but by a large section of players. So we need to obviously find some innovative ways to award the projects. But my question to you, Porus sir, is about prior to budget also. In last year, there was this RDI fund, Research, Development and Innovation Fund, that was allocated by Government of India, 1 lakh crore to encourage the private sector to come into R&D. So as part of that, do you think private sector in roads R&D will ever emerge with a credible backing and with sound research based findings and some kind of research outcomes? Because till now there is only one government body which has, captured the market, or which has a de facto veto power on any new product coming into the industry and those kind of things. We don't have private sector bodies who are into R&D on roads in particular. So do you think this scheme may help?
I, what I feel is that we have a disconnect between a goal that we set for ourselves and to actually put the action over ambivalence. So actually, if you want to get something from the industry, then one has to have kind of a mechanism where pre-budget, we are talking of 2026 budget.
Yes.
If we need to have some kind of action that we need to actually put in place that we have planned on paper, we need the industry to be in sync with the government's focus, for which government and the private contractors and the stakeholders should have some kind of a mechanism where the voice of the industry has to be focused when you actually prepare the draft of the budget or any kind of policy which is going to impact the quality as well as the timelines that we need to adhere with the quality.
So do you think, sir, this fund that has come up will help in encouraging private sector R&D in roads so that new innovative materials which have been probably used somewhere else, but they are still awaiting CRRI approval or those kind of technocratic approvals? So maybe they
In
will
my
find more takers in the market?
in my experience, we have been, trying to push my company, Genesis Infra Project Consultant, has been pushing for innovative, sustainable technologies since a very long time. And our experience has been that the enrollment at the ground level is a bit challenging due to multiple factors. Main amongst them is the cost that the contractor will look at the initial cost, and he would see to that ignorance of the life cycle cost actually. So if you calculate any kind of a policy decision being done for this particular fund, when you ask me the question, yes, this is a good vision for Viksit Bharat 2047 vision, because as per my experience, I feel that there is a slowdown of enrollment. There is a issue of enrolling the stakeholders. If that comes into place, then I think there's a huge market for innovative products, innovative sustainable technologies after this budget.
No, thank you, sir, for your views. Just moving on to Rakesh, sir, with your vast over 40 years of experience in procurement, what are some of the ways that supply chain leaders such as yourself can de-risk their material sourcing prices against the inflationary pressures? Like you gave a presentation on the steel price expected to rise. Bitumen has been, crude oil overall has been surprisingly stable since the last 2 years, despite the Russian-Ukraine war and other geopolitical risks. But in otherwise, there are obviously some upward pressures on the material prices. So, how do you strategize to de-risk or to mitigate the impact of price rise in your construction projects?
Price rise is a regular phenomena, the depending upon, particularly bitumen, you said, it is basically depend on the import prices of the crude. And due to the geopolitical scenario in the world and the Iran and US tensions going on and the dollar volatility, making all, and the in the meantime India has reduced the import of the bitumen, also imported bitumen, so that makes the prices are going up since last 2 months. MRPL in south, they have increased 2,100 rupees increase in this thing, and 700 in 16th of Jan. So it is continuously impacting the projects. So only it can protect if we have contractual binding or support, price escalation. So that only helps us. Otherwise, as far
You
as the
have to absorb
quality
it.
is, yeah, that is the one thing. Another thing, in Rajpath, we are also, as our honorable chairman announced, his intention to develop R&D also. Another vertical we are
Nice.
going to start,
Okay.
R&D vertical in
Interesting.
our company. So we will have our own house, in-house, testing, parameter, everything, So otherwise, sometimes that also has a cost outside when we go for the checking for maybe IIT Mumbai or IIT Chennai. So then it has a cost, it is a time constraint also sometimes.
True, sir. Only
So
I
that
think one
regularly,
thing I just
regularly monitoring of the quality, and if we develop our own quality monitoring mechanism
yes.
in-house, that certainly is going to help to maintain the quality.
So by ensuring that the materials are of desired quality through your QA QC, you will also limit the kind of reworks or over procurement that you will need. So that is also one of the ambitions. In fact, sir,
Yes,
I
yeah,
think
in
on this
fact,
point,
just last point, I would
yeah,
like to see we have, wherever we have project sites which are active, where we are executing the projects, we have set up our own laboratories. But when we are talking about the R&D,
hmm,
another vertical, that will have a larger perspective. But otherwise, to maintain currently, we maintain the quality, we check the quality, we have all, that for particular bitumen and CRMB or PMB, for checking the purpose, we have the viscosity meter. Every contractor doesn't have. So we are attempting to have the better control on the qualities.
thank you, sir. Thank you for your views. In fact, sir, like somebody said earlier, also it's a mindset shift that is required because even when a private sector R&D comes up and provides some evidence of some research of some innovative material, the typical mindset of the authority is still to take it to IIT Bombay or to CRRI to take their opinion and only then give a kind of a clearance, if I should say. So yes, this is obviously a good effort, but the mindset shift is also to be required along with this initiative, definitely. Vibhav sir, the next question I would like to pose to you. So, what are some international best practices that you can suggest to ensure that our highways meet the same lifespan standards as the global highways, or even for that matter metro rail systems, which are known to be servicing with very little maintenance throughout their lifespan?
See, when you talk about international practices, it's not that, there are things which are not being looked at. We had recently taken, DMRC also to Tokyo, and they looked at many things, including some of the precast factories and, many other practices. But the thing is that again, whether those things can be fit into our kind of procurement models is a challenge. We work on with NHIDCL in one of the projects of Northeast, that is in Mizoram, where some of the things we could implement, including the trauma centers around the highways and all. So those concepts have been introduced selectively in some of the projects. But
Interesting.
on qualitative parameters, because this kind of things always add to the cost, and cost is paramount, everything has to fit within a budget. Then some of the practices are there, which can be suggested also. Some of the practices, particularly about girdle launching and all, have been used in high-speed rail projects. But
Hmm.
other than that, see, at the end of the day, if you are diligent about your work, then quality automatically comes. I don't think there should be anything extraordinary that we should be looking at international now. Nowadays, most of the experts which are deployed on the projects also come with adequate international experience. Though, so they by themselves, by virtue of their knowledge, their supervision and all, ensure that without anything specifically being written in the contract, also they ensure that works are done as per international standards and all, which is happening. It happens more also, if I can say, there are funding agencies, particularly in I'll tell you, in some of the projects which we do, there are positions which are unheard of. I always say, some of these Japanese funded projects also insist that there should be a social expert of the project who will at least look at the fact that the land acquisition has been done in line with the procedures and all, so much so that JICA delegations looks at the reports prepared by the social expert and talk to the villages. So to that extent, there could be a concept of, using international practices that even
Hmm.
the land has not been acquired through unfair means or through inadequate compensation. There are dolphin experts now being deployed in some of the projects which we are doing in Brahmaputra. So when you talk about international quality standards, it's not that you only look at the quality of the concrete and all, or only look at the best possible safety standard. You can also look at some of the other aspects of construction process, which also need to be monitored as carefully as you do your concrete or your steel fabrication. So in that sense, yes, some of those aspects can, but they are again add to the cost, In some of the, like I said, dolphin experts are deployed by consultant as well as contractors. We have an ornithologist at this MTHL, Atal
Hmm.
Setu. So those are the practices which are used worldwide in some of the developed economies. It's high time we also look at that when you are cutting the mangroves. In one of the cases, I see our help was sought when mangroves were cut on one of the projects of Mumbai recently in last 6 months. We had to go and sort it out.
Hmm.
So those practices can be used, but how much our own clients are mindful of those using those practices itself is a question. So with that,
That
I'm saying
certification is
there's a
required.
lot that can be done, but if there is really a vision to do that, is still a question mark.
Right, sir. So, Dr. Hoshing, sir, to you, the next question is about, given your vast leadership experience, you are seeing that the government push is obviously to monetize assets. It's to recycle the existing high value, very toll generating assets through InvIT or through bilateral M&As. Do you think right now, how should companies try to balance their portfolio? In the sense, we are seeing that the erstwhile legacy players, like you are a part of certain companies, and also the newer crop, the legacy players are almost out of the market, if you will agree with me. So right now, how should they position their portfolio? In the sense, the pipeline of BOTs that are coming up, should they try to bid for that, try to commission it, then unload that stake and then go for another round, or do they just wait and watch for now?
See, when I was working with Reliance, the quote of Dhirubhai was very important there. And he used to say, but there is no money which will never finish. So money will see its end. So everybody is a limit money. There is a limit on money. So what we can do? So we can always have to churn the money, your equity always. So if you, and there are different people for different work, and now that different companies have already come. You have seen the InvIT companies, the highway concessions, and all
Yes.
those. They are into the market. So they want to do the O&M part through somebody, but they want the money which is coming. They want to take that stake. And then you want to be a BOT developer. You want, see, in IRB we quoted one term as best. So our policy was best then. So this was when we started the first InvIT, if you remember, IRB was the first to do it. So we said bid, execute, stabilize the project, and transfer to the InvITs. So that's the policy. You need to do this. This as a policy, you'll have to do this because
Mhm.
there is some limitation to the supply. You cannot keep on buying, making projects and keep on developing. So there'll be end. There will be end of the equity sometime. So you'll have to find more equity from somewhere. So of course you have to do this. There is no doubt about it. Let it be a government of India. See, they also had to come here. We were saying they are coming with EPC. They are coming with ham. I don't understand ham anyway. Ham is the worst part they can ever do. Like 40% they are giving and 60% out of I did not tell that. You know it very well.
Yeah, yeah.
And there was a time when the bids were 20% higher. So with the 20% thing they are making the bid, the ham was just a foolish thing. Till recently when the ham bids have also started going minus 40, which minus 40 really means minus 55, 15 to 20% other expenses and your O&M expenses. I don't know whether they will see the light of the day or not. I'll also tell you one of the things when our member, ex member, I'm not naming him, many years back in 2013-14, he was very happy that he is getting very low bids. I said, you will find a day when these all bids will stop and you will not get, you will see that none of these projects will go off, finish, see the end of the project time. And that the same thing happened. All of them lost that money. And there was a huge dip. And then people thought that, no, the right thing is to come with EPC. But government also has a limitation on money. So, see, if you are happy that there is 3 lakh crore given, 2 lakh crore given, for 13,500 kilometer of BOT itself, if they want to buy the land, that will consume more than 2 lakh crores. And they have to pay almost 80,000 to 1 lakh crore of, annuities. Plus 40% they have to give. From where that money will come? So they have to go to BOT or they have to do the churning, which they are doing. So there is no other way. They also have to come to that market. Finance Ministry have told, bhai, we cannot keep on making roads with our own money. There has to be some other money which is coming. So BOT will be the day which will happen. But only problem with BOT is all the BOT projects are not viable. And then you cannot have a mad rush on BOT. A lot of people have burned their hands, and fortunately for NHI, which you were saying they will be happy. That's why I answered you what happened, minus 40%. They may be happy today, but they will be very, very, they'll find the time when they will be very, very sad on that. What they did was wrong. And they will not get the quality of 100%. They will not get the quality which will sustain. I can tell you, I did my first BOT, not first BOT, in my first BOT of Reliance. So that project in 15 years, 5 years, sorry, fifth year was the resurfacing you have to do,
Overlay.
but overlay. But I have not done a single pothole on that board. I said there's not required. You see, the road is so good. Why you need a overlay or this? And with that, we kept on doing, and 8th and 9th year I did the first overlay, and
Nice.
everybody said that there was no. So that is how you have to, because there's a backing of Reliance. Nobody is saying there, in IB, nobody is saying that you have a quality which you can reduce or you can have a poor quality and make money. No, they want their money from coming from some other sources. So, so that's how developer. If in that time there was so much of forces that people thought that beauty is a very good thing and the money which is coming from debt is your own money, and they use it something like that, and then they were not able to pay debts. So that's what happened to all those companies.
Yes.
They in beauty also they did the mad rush, and then smart people, they remained silent on those days, and they are the company which has survived. Other companies did not survive.
True, sir. In fact, now the risk sharing is slightly better because of the MCA revisions. Now, BOT should be substantially different from the 2012 era, 2011-12
It's,
era.
it's different, but still the onus is on the owner or the bidder. If they think that they can have the money, I'll say that I'll just on Excel you can make any project viable, boss. Projects are not made viable on Excel. They have to be on ground, and you have to make money on ground or not on Excels.
True, sir.
Now you cannot write. You can write a program on AI and make the project viable. That is also not possible. Actually, the
No,
money will
thank you,
not
sir.
come.
I think this is very good insight. In fact, just reminds me of a quote by Morgan Housel that there has been more fiction written in Excel than MS Word. So that is one quote that I just remembered. Sir, now I would just ask you to put on your EPC contractor hat, and you can tell us about, is there a possibility that contracting companies may set up manufacturing units to create the specialized construction equipment, because budget has come up with SICE, scheme for innovation in construction infra equipment. And the instance of AFCONs last year, as you know, the TBMs got stuck in Chinese port. So that obviously may have played a part. And those critical machines are definitely a hurdle for infra creation. So do you think in the near future, the contracting companies may try to backward integrate into TBM manufacturing so that they can use their indigenous equipment? Okay, I'll just pass on the question to Vibhav, sir. I think we have lost him for a minute.
See,
Yeah.
You have given a good idea. At least likes of L&T can afford to do that. They should think about it. I think they do also something. I don't know exactly what they do, but L&T has some capabilities in that sense. Others may not do. There was another model, if you remember, of Srei model. That didn't work. You remember that? Primarily, they got into concessions also, but primarily they were an equipment leasing company. And also we had, even India Bulls had started this, they had also thought about equipment bank. So at least the equipment bank, if not the manufacturing, equipment bank, equipment bank concept as such collapsed. I don't know why it collapsed. I have not studied it so thoroughly. But Srei collapsed, and I think India Bull thing also did not gain any traction.
True.
So as a first step, at least some of the bigger players can think about creating an equipment bank, a stable equipment bank. And then, of course, they can not only think about creating a bank, but also the facilities of redoing it, in the sense that the life of a TPM can be extended through some suitable modifications, or at least
Correct.
you tie up with somebody so that, yes, ideally you start manufacturing some of the equipment and you are not import dependent.
Yes.
Of course, the tariff threat is no longer there after yesterday's announcement, but still that has given you a lesson, and China experience has given a lesson that both in terms of lead time as well as the quality, you should not be dependent on import so much. So ideally, some of the construction giants should take a step of thinking about it. Some of them have also already started doing some kind of in-house precasting on a grand scale and all. I heard someone is
Yes.
doing in Nagpur. So yes, its time has come where people should start thinking about backward integration and having some kind of captive capabilities in
Correct, sir.
terms of
Because
equipment ownership.
in the highways, we have seen the likes of, just to say a few names, GRIL, Delhi Buildcon, they have invested in some capabilities into some manufacturing of a small nature, which are highly repeat items in their highway projects. So, with this scheme for construction equipment, Dr. Hoshing is back. So, sir, do you think there is a chance for backward integrating into those sensitive equipment manufacturing for the large EPC contractors?
Yeah, I think if you are a EPC contractor, remain a EPC contractor. If you venture into if you want to venture into some other business, take it as a different business.
Okay.
Don't think I will bring it from there to here. So making a TBM is totally different, and it's a very different ball game. So if you're talking about GR, they are doing MBCB, so they are selling it to different people. So
Yes.
they are treating it as a different business. They are
True.
not taking at their cost. It won't. I am going instead of when you become a EPC contractor,
Hmm.
you should have a contractors like RMC. You should have a contractor like crushing. You should not see for everything. So that's how your cost goes increase because your cost becomes so high. You get your crusher, you get your so overheads keeps on increasing, and then your tippers. Typically, in a different system, I would say US and I saw where. So the EPC contractor is the aggregator kind of thing.
Yeah,
He gets material.
battery is nothing but aggregator. Battery is
EPC.
essentially aggregator.
So you should be aggregator, design from this, and then you be contract coordinating everything and doing it. Your overheads will go down like drastically. So that's a different way of doing business. There's debate in my system. I used to tell them, don't go for buying hundreds and hundreds of tippers. There'll be time when you will not be able to manage them. And same thing happened. Now most of the people are thinking, let me be aggregator, especially in developer system like IIB or maybe Reliance or pure EPC contractor. You still become a aggregator, and there will be people who will do somebody will do earthwork for you. So you will have very less overhead, and then you will be if your overhead goes beyond 10%, 12%, that you can save by giving
Hmm.
1 or 2% extra here. So that's my
Right, sir.
view.
Thank you. Rakesh, sir, over to you. I think Hoshing sir also has given an advice not to venture outside of road construction. You were talking about R&D. So just on a lighter note, of course.
R&D I'm a bit different. For
Yeah.
R&D, what happens is the
Yeah,
problem with
of course.
R&D is
I know.
even if I come with something,
It
it
is
has no
beneficial for
value.
you. Yeah.
No, no, it may benefit me. I have given some hundreds of suggestions, and
Hmm.
I saw, went outside, learned, came back, told that these are things can be done. And they say, no, first go to CRRI, first go, and you have to start a new thing, you know.
Correct.
So ultimately they will go to CRRI. So
Yes.
your R&D is of no value other than incurring cost.
Rakesh sir, one question to
Sorry.
you
Yeah.
is on the other aspect of just the last set of questions on CCUS, carbon capture, utilization, and storage. So the idea is to capture carbon and to sequester carbon, and carbon comes in many forms from embodied carbon to emissions, all of that. Presently in road construction, it is something that is good to have, and BRSR reports are there as per SEBI. But are we really tracking our carbon consumption? What are the sustainability measures we are taking while constructing our roads? Do you think there will be some approach change after this budget announcement?
In detail, budget has to be seen actually, and what you just talked about
Carbon
enhancement in
capture.
the enhancement in the budget for making in-house, the equipment or miscellaneous item. As
Mhm.
Delhi Buildcon is there making metal beam crash barrier, their road marking paint. There are so many things they have started doing. But most important thing is as far as the equipments are concerned, it is very capital intensive, and it requires a lot
Mhm.
of investment, not only a small help or support or lower rate of interest. So
True, sir.
sometimes it's a demand supply, and there are important decisions in this business to make
Correct.
or buy or hire. So today there are a lot of people are available who have plant and machinery on hire basis. And
Hmm.
when you analyze the cost, you should hire or you should buy. So then you find the hiring options is cheaper, the better quality. So that I feel. Otherwise, as far as the carbon is concerned, I think there should be control, but it is going to increase the cost in long term. Right now, it looks to be good, but I don't know. We have to go through with the complete document. Then what are the policy changes? Because day for yesterday only they have the budget has come,
Correct. Correct.
so
We'll
not
have to
seen
read
in
that in
details.
detail.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was some talk of biobitumen also coming up. So I think this will be in.
Biobitumen and biogas diesel. If you see this,
Hmm.
Reliance, because I have been in Reliance for 12 years.
Acha.
Also.
Mhm.
Yeah. So Reliance also started biodiesel in Kakinada, but
Mhm.
so far not successful. I'm talking of 2008, 2009.
Right.
So these are all fine things, yeah, methanol and all those things. These are all cost reduction measures. But finally, it has to be equipment shabby. The users feel that using the biodiesel, there
Hmm.
is, increasing the maintenance cost of the equipment. People are using imported diesel also
Hmm.
from Iran and all that. That also, affecting your the maintenance, and
I see.
the maintenance cost is very high. So it is very very important what you use and what should we make, what should we should manufacture, what should we hire or we should buy from the market. And again, like you told GR Infra, Delhi Buildcon, Ashok Buildcon,
Hmm.
they have the order book is very very high.
Hmm.
And if you see 3 years back, Delhi Buildcon, what was the situation for them? Because they are having more than around 10,000 asset based. And the interest cost during that period, there was a very high, very serious problem with the Delhi Buildcon 2, 3 years back, if you see
Hmm.
this. So that is very important decision by any management, whether we should go for manufacturing or we should go for buy or we should go for hire.
Sure.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, sir. Thank you for this use. Quite a vocal advocate for Make in India pavements. So, in this budget, how can we actually get procurement professionals? Like, suppose you're advising Rakesh sir to buy more of Make in India materials, to have more of DCR requirement, domestic content requirements, like you have in equipment. So, can there be some kind of a contract amendments or some provisions in place where you prioritize domestic content so that once you do that, maybe your equipment manufacturers, like that scheme that has come out, they will also have some assured buyers in the Indian industry.
Yes, of course, I agree. If I have to advise to Sharma ji, they are already enrolled into, I think, a majority of their procurement is made in India projects, is what I gather from the market. But if we need to actually promote the Indian products, primarily citing the fact that, we assume that we don't have these products to match with the foreign ones. And now, when we talk of innovative technologies where sustainability is the crux, the problem lies with the fact that we have to create what you call product which matches the international standard.
Specs.
And as Hoshing sir said that you have to go back to agencies appointed by the government with a
Yes.
specification that you need to have a certified product used in the project, and that deters the contractor from enrolling
Taking the
into.
first step. Yes.
Yes. So that is one challenge. So I would advise actually advising the contractor, it is advising the government to actually have some kind of a policy, as what you rightly suggested, where the contractor's life is made easy on the procurement part.
Thank you all panelists for a very enriching discussion.